Hi everyone, and welcome to the first hack recipe video for Noodle Journey, in which I'll give you some advice on hacking Momofuku's noodles into something a little bit more exciting than what comes in the package. If you didn't watch my reviews of Momofuku's 3 products, please do so. But the TLDR is that I have the same complaint about the spicy soy and soy scallion varieties. The noodles are phenomenal, and the sauces out of the package are uninspired and boring, but that makes them excellent blank slates for your own spin. I think the tingly chili noodle pack can stand on its own as an interesting meal, but the other two, not as much. So in the interest of making the most out of these, what can we do to jazz these up into something more interesting? Let's start with something very basic, and if you like this one, we can amp things up and do more complicated stuff. Everything I'm about to cover will work for all 3 Momofuku varieties, even though the tingly chili noodles have a different flavor profile than the other 2. As a side note, and I mentioned this in the soy scallion video, I noticed that Momofuku's official YouTube channel has started publishing their own hack videos for their products. So check those out if you want some more awesome ideas. I'll link their channel below. I'm going to be demonstrating this hack on the soy and scallion noodles, the most basic of the 3 from a flavor perspective, in my opinion. If you're eating these as a light meal or snack but want a bit more pizzazz to them, here's how to make these a little more flavorful and exciting without going crazy. You're going to need 3 ingredients, with a 4th optional ingredient if you want some extra spice. An egg, a fresh scallion or 2, furikake seasoning, and optionally some togarashi seasoning. So let's break this down. The egg is the most obvious pairing here. Eggs and noodles are a tried and true combo. This gives you a simple protein that can give you some extra yolky creaminess. For this, I think a sunny side up fried egg is perfect for both the speed with which you can cook it and the runny yolk, but you do you. Poach, boil, fried over hard, whatever you like. Scallion. If you've got the spicy soy or tingly chili noodles, you didn't get any dried scallions. Boo. But if you've got the soy and scallion noodles, you've got dried scallions, and nothing tastes as good as fresh scallions. So we're going to slice up the greens of a scallion or 2 as an extra garnish, and if you've got some extra time, which I do, we're going to mince up the white parts and saute them in a little oil for 3 minutes and mix them in for additional flavor. Furikake seasoning. So you might not be familiar with this stuff, just like I was not long ago, but if you love rice or noodles, this is a must-have. Furikake is a Japanese condiment that comes in a bunch of different varieties, but it almost always contains some combination of salt, sugar, sesame seeds, and dried seaweed. It's delicious. You can sprinkle this on plain white rice and turn it into something crazy good. So here I have a basic seaweed or nori furikake, and I think this goes perfectly with the flavor of the Momofuku noodle sauces. You can try other varieties depending on your tastes. My nearby Asian market has a ton of these, this brand in particular. There's one with dried egg yolk, one with dried fish, dried shrimp, wasabi powder, dried kimchi. There's even one with perilla, which I've never had before, but might have to try that someday. There's really no wrong answer with furikake because any of these are a great flavor enhancer. I like this one because I think the seaweed and sugar really complements the sauce, but go with whatever blend speaks to you. If you don't have access to furikake, you can just use some toasted sesame seeds and a pinch of sugar and MSG to get the same effect, and then you can grab some dried seaweed sheets at your grocery store and shred them to add in here. But this is really not hard to find, and it's way more convenient to buy like this. And for an optional spice, togarashi. Togarashi comes in a couple different varieties, but the gist is that it's a dried combination of chili pepper, sesame seeds, and citrus powder. So yes, this also has sesame like the furikake, but it's going to blend with it and give you an extra oomph of spice and a little acid. Let's start by prepping the scallion, and I'm not a professional chef, so, my knife skills aren't the greatest. Just try not to cut yourself. Chop off the end. If there's any funky outer layer of the scallion, peel it off. Make sure this is washed. And separate the whites from the greens. So right about there. And with the white part, you can either do a fancy kind of julienne thing down the middle and whatever, but I'm just going to slice it in the interest of time. Hey, look at that. I still have all my fingers. Now for the green part, I like to slice it on an angle, kind of like this, because it gives you slightly larger pieces and a different angle than the whites. Yes, I'm aware I'm not holding this correctly. But again, I'm not a chef. This is all stuff I have picked up from the internet over the years. Lots of home cooking. Lots of trial and error. All right. This is good enough for a garnish. This is good enough for a saute. Let's go get this cooked. Let's cook the scallions first. You don't need much to get scallions soft, and the oil that you're going to use is going to be infused with really great flavor as an added bonus. I'm using a single scallion. You just want this soft and fragrant over medium heat, really only about 3 minutes. So add a little bit of oil. Turn your heat on to about medium. Let this heat up for a minute, and then these scallions are going to go in the skillet. All right, in these go. Give them a little stir in that oil. And remember, you're going for soft and fragrant, not necessarily charred unless that's something you want. Only after like a minute and these are already getting an amazing smell. All right, and they are just starting to brown, so I've turned off the heat. All right, and now the egg. So if you've never fried an egg before, you just need to melt some butter, or my preference, heat some oil. Use a non-stick skillet or cast iron or carbon steel if you're really serious about cooking eggs. You want to turn this on to medium or medium-low heat so that the egg doesn't get away from you. Kind of coating the oil around the bottom of the pan right now. And you don't necessarily need to use this much, just eyeball it. And if you're doing sunny side up like me, which I think is the best presentation, there are quick tricks you can use when you want to get your whites inside firm. You want to cook this for about 3 minutes, give or take, or until that middle white is firm. If you can't quite get it to that point, when you start to see the edge solidify, you can add a couple drops of water, put a cover over this and let it steam for about 30 seconds. Or if you've got more oil in here, which is why sometimes having extra oil is a good thing, you can just tilt this pan down, spoon some oil over the egg or butter, and let it cook that way. Either way works, no more runny whites. So let's assemble this. You can really do this in any order, but I'm going to do the whites of the scallions first. Give it a good stir. Some of these came out nice and caramelized. We got some of that great oil in here too. Next I'm going to add the egg, and God willing I don't break the yolk. Perfect. And now the garnishes. So the tops of the green onions. A little bit of the furikake. This is a huge opening, so I've got to be very careful that I don't pour way too much into this. Fortunately, this is super delicious, so it doesn't matter if I pour too much. I'll live. And then lastly, a little togarashi spice in here. Gives it some color, some acid, and a little spice. So let's break up this yolk, mix this all together, and really get into this. Oh yeah, that is delicious. This is great. The noodles are already awesome, as we know. The toppings mix really well with the basic Momofuku sauce. I'm not going to score this since your preparation might vary from mine, but it's really worth the extra effort. I spent barely 6 minutes on the stove to saute the scallion and fry the egg, and now I've got a meal as opposed to a glorified side dish. Now some notes. I think the togarashi makes this comfortably spicy, but what if you want more spice? Try a couple drops of the Bravado Akamiso hot sauce that I made a video about a little while ago. Or add some spicy chili crisp for some extra texture and, in this case, a little more funk. Momofuku does make their own chili crisp, which should go really well with this, but I haven't bought that yet. Or you could buy one of Samyang's bottled Buldak hot sauces if you want to get crazy, but I'm not sure how much that would overwhelm the flavors here. Worth a try, though. And lastly, if you have some fried garlic or dried garlic seasoning of some sort and want this to have a garlicky punch, that would work well since garlic and noodles are a match made in heaven. Surprisingly, even though I love garlic, I don't miss it with all the other flavors here, so I'm leaving well enough alone. Alright, that's enough talking for such a simple hack. Hopefully this gives you some ideas on your own noodle hacks, and if you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments and by liking this video, because I would love to do a more elaborate hack for these noodles. And please don't forget to subscribe so that you can continue on this noodle journey with me.